Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now today we're going to try a new sort of puzzle for the channel. We've never done one of these before. I have solved very few of these in my life, but we've had a couple of email requests to try a puzzle called Kurotto. And there is a Kurotto grid on the screen now, and I'm guessing if you're as new to the puzzle as me, you'll want to know the rules of this puzzle, so let's find those. So here are the rules. Now you can see this is from the Niccoli website. Now Niccoli invented this type of puzzle, and let's read them. So fill in colour cells, i.e. black cells, with the following rules. The number in a circle indicates the sum of the number of continuous black cells extending from it vertically and horizontally. There's stuff about empty cells. Don't worry about that because there are no empty cells in the puzzle we're going to try. And then cells with circles cannot be coloured. So it's just about as simple a rule set as you could possibly imagine, and that often is the sign of a very, very good puzzle. Let's just compare the sample grid here with the answer grid. You can see this 2 clue in the top left. That has exactly an area of 2 connected to it. So these 2 contiguous black cells are connected to the 2, and that completes that clue. The 3 has the 2 above it and this 1, and that's enough for that, and that also means that this 1 clue is satisfied. And in theory, therefore, we should be able to use this very simple rule set to complete a more complicated grid. Now, I was then challenged with finding a grid, and so I went to the trusty website gmpuzzles.com because I knew I'd be able to get a handcrafted Kurotto from there, and indeed I found this one, which is a puzzle by Ashish Kumar and Thomas Snyder. So they've jointly authored this puzzle, and given the pedigree of those two people, I would imagine this is going to be about as good a puzzle in this genre as we could possibly find. You can see it's a lot larger than the sample puzzle, and I suspect a lot more difficult. I did have a quick look at the suggested timings for those of you who are interested in such things. And if you are sort of grandmaster pace, you want to be doing this puzzle in under 3 minutes. But even an expert, it suggests, will be taking 8 or 9 minutes for the puzzle. So it's clearly no walkover. Now, with that, if you'd like to have a go at the puzzle, then click on the link under the video, and that will take you to our webpage where you should see something very similar to what I'm seeing and be able to have a go. And with that, I am now going to have a go myself. Now, do I have any tips for starting these? Well, only one. My tip is to look for squares where the circles have very different values, because they are likely to be constrained. So if we look at this 3 and 8 over here, that's where my eyes would first be drawn. So there's a 5 difference between these two cells. So I think the way I would think about this is if we look at these 2 cells, we know that the maximum number of black squares that can extend from these 2 yellow squares, or yellow cells, is 3. Therefore, this 8 clue has to be made up of 5 more at least, starting from this square here. So this square must be black, and it must be at least there must be at least 5 contiguously connected black squares. So let's put 1 in. You can see if it comes downwards, that's only going to give 2, so it must come that way. And now once it's come this way, look, something interesting happens. We know that this contiguous area here is going to have to be at least of length 5. Therefore, it cannot connect to this square, because that's going to connect an area of at least 5 to a 3 clue and break the puzzle. So we can put that one in. Therefore, this must come 1 more. Right. Yeah, okay. Now this is I'm sure this is a designed break-in by the 2 gentlemen, because this is quite clever now, isn't it? Because this 8 clue, the maximum we could go this way now, it's going to be interfered with by this 2 clue. So we could go 2 maximum in this direction, and that would require this lot here to be of length 6. Now, in fact, that must be the way this happens, because if this goes 1, then this area has to be of length 7, and it's going to break the 6th clue. So this divides exactly, that must be like that, therefore these two squares must be green. The 3 clue now requires one more. It's got 2 here, it needs one more, that must be there. And therefore these must all be green. I'm going to actually, when I've finished a clue, I'm going to mark it. I'm going to change its colour to red, otherwise it's quite easy to get confused. I'm also going to, I think my pencil marks, yes, pencil marks show up through this, so I need this to be of length 6, and by putting those little blue 6's in there, that's going to remind me of that fact. Now, as this is of length 6, it cannot connect to this 5 clue, so that must be green. Oh, I like this so far. This is very clever. And as this is of length 6, 1, 2, 3, well, obviously this square here cannot be in, because if this does bend round like that, it breaks the 5 clue again. So that's not in. So the 5 clue, yeah, okay, so the 5 clue must be a contiguous area of black squares starting from this square, 1. Now, as we know this is of length 5, put the 5 in to remind us of that fact, it cannot connect to this 3 clue, so this square must be green. So it's got to come that way, and then, yeah, okay, so now this one must be green, and these two must be black. And we actually get to enter in some more red squares off the back of that. I like this so far. It's a very nice puzzle. I suspect I would, that's why I'm enjoying it. So, right, so now this 6 clue, it sees 5 in this direction, so there must be a 1 in one of these 2 clues, or one of these 2 cells. And that's interesting, because now this 7 clue is going to collect 1 from one of these 2 squares, and therefore it's going to have 6 from these 2 squares, which marries up exactly with this 6 here. So this 6 is not getting anything from areas that are not connected to these 2 squares. Now, can we use that somehow? I'm not sure, because it could still bend like that, or it could still use these 2 squares, providing it also uses those 2. This 4. Yeah, the 4 is a bit restricted because it's only got 5 squares it can reach. So this square must be black, otherwise the 4 clue is broken. But we don't really, I don't think we know whether it does that or some other iteration of those things. Not sure. The other thing that sometimes is useful in these puzzles is to look at corners. So this 7, now this 7 might, and this 3 might interact. Yes, I think so, because if this 7 goes vertically as far as it can, it could go 2 in that direction, but then it needs to go 5 in this direction, and it cannot hit this 3, because if it hits the 3 with a 5 clue, it's going to break the 3 clue, all of which I think means this square can never be in. If that square's in, you can see that the maximum area that could connect to this would be 3, and the 7 clue is utterly broken. There isn't, because it has to hit that square. So this square is definitely green. 1, 2, so, and this must come, this must come out like this, and then it can't hit the 3 clue. It's already of length 3, so it can't hit the 3 clue. It must bend round. 2, 3, 4. Now that's interesting as well. So this could obviously, it could go 2 this way as a maximum. So this is at least of length 5. Now, the reason that's interesting, if you remember, I had 6's into those 2 squares. So now, as this extends at least one further, it will hit this square. It must do, because it must either go there or there. And therefore, as we know that the 6 that this 7 needs is definitely connected to this 6 through one of these squares, it's not possible, I don't think, for this, if this is of length 5 and it just goes up like that, the 7 clue is broken, because now it needs to have a 6 clue extending from here, but the 6 clue has already got 5 connected to it, so that's just nonsense. Now if on the other hand, yes, I see. Now if on the other hand this is of length 5 and it comes this way, like that, look what that does. That doesn't break this clue, because it could still have a 1 clue here, but it breaks this clue. This is of size 6, and how do we do that if this is of length 5? Well, the only way would be by adding that one to make it of length 6. So actually, this area here, interestingly, is definitely a 6 clue. Now, can we use that? If this is 6, there must be 1 here. Exactly 1 there. So, yeah, this is nice now. So now this 3 clue must have 3 from this square. Now, yeah. Okay, so, and as this is definitely of length 3, the 5 clue needs 2 more from this square. So that must be a black square. And these can't interfere with each other, because if they interfere with each other, we're going to break one of them. Because either we have to restrict it to length 3, or we make it length 5, and that breaks this one. So this is a green square, this is a black square, this is of length 2, therefore we need 3 this way, coming out like this. And I want to put more red cells in, but I don't think I can. Now let's think about the 9 clue now, because we still need 7 more for the 9 clue. But obviously this square could only ever be 4. Well, in fact this square now can only ever be 2, because this 4 clue's already got 2 this way. So that means that the minimum number coming off this cell is a 5 sized area. And in fact, that it must be 5, mustn't it? Because how could I don't think I can. I can't. There's no way of getting this out without hitting either that square or that square. That's so cleverly designed. How the heck do you go about designing this to be this lovely? So this is a maximum of 5 this way, which means this must be exactly 2 from this square. These can't interfere with each other, so it must look like that. Goodness me. That is lovely. That's just absolutely brilliant too. This is of length 5, and therefore must come up like this. And now we have a few choices about how this develops further, don't we? So it could hit the 7, it could duck down like that, and it could go like that, or it could go like that. There. Okay, so how do we get a handle on what this actually does? Okay. I think I see how one way we can do it. So let's have a look right back at this 4 clue. Now I think I'm right in saying that however this 4 clue arranges itself, there must be at least a 2-cell black area attaching to this 6 clue. Because I know either one of these is definitely in, possibly both of them, but as either one of them is definitely in, and that one is in, that's at least 2 is attached to this 6 on this side. that means the maximum that could be attached to this 6 on this side from one of those squares is 4. That is the absolute maximum. But this is of length 5. So there is no way that these two squares are in. That is impossible. Ah, yes, okay, now watch. So if these two aren't in, let's think about whether this square could be in or not. Now, if this square is not in, this square now, this 7 clue, needs to be of length 5. But look, however it goes, it has to hit this 6, because it's got to be of length 5 and it can't worm away from this 6 clue, which is constrained by the 2 on this side. So actually that square is in. This 7 is getting its other 5 from this black area here. That's absolutely lovely. We know this square is not in because that's going to connect to the 6, which will break it. So that's green, and now we're just left with a choice. Oh, it's no choice, it's easy. So one of these is in. Now if it's this one, if this is a black square, then that square's green. How do you ever fill this 5 clue? You can't, because whatever you do is hitting the 4 clue. And there's only one way this 5 clue can develop. So actually that square is in, that square is not in. This, and this can all be turned red. And therefore that square's green. And therefore that square's green. Now that green square is interesting because that means the 4 clue now has only 4 blank squares left. They're all therefore filled like this. And they both hit the 6 clues. So there's 3 being contributed here. So this one needs another 3. Those 2 must be in. They must be of length 3. And drat. Okay, I don't know how to do that. I suppose we can, because this square is green, we know that either this square is black or this square is black. And therefore, looking at this area here, it can never hit this square. If this square becomes black for some reason, it will break this 3 clue. So that square must be green. Now we worked out that this was length 6, didn't we? So it can't come up 2, so it must come across 1. So it's either ducking down here now, or it's going into one of those 2 squares. And the interesting thing about that is that whichever of these squares it takes up, this 6 clue will be completed. Therefore, those 2 squares are green. And I say "and" as like a pregnant pause while my brain works. I'm trying to think of what the "and" is. Now maybe we can do something with the 3 clue though, because the 3 clue can't duck down here, because if it does, we know that this is a maximum of 1 square here. So this 3 clue could go there, 1. It could go here, 2, but it can't go up any further if it's a 6 clue. So that square must be black. Okay, and that does, I think, fix this area. This needs to be of length 6. How can we do that now, given it must not hit this square? Well, it could come 1 down like that, but then it has to stop. 1. It could go 1 up there, then it has to stop. It can't come into this square. It can go 1 up there, and that is as far as it can go, or it'll hit this one. It's genius design. Absolute genius. That is forced. This black square here forces this 6 into that shape, which limits everything else. So now the 3 must come up here. It cannot hit there. This square must be a black square, therefore this is green, this is black, this is green. Look at the way it's chaining. Ah, it's sensational. This must be a black square, therefore that's green, that forces that one up there. And are we done? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that is the solution. Now if I was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'd submit this. I'd submit this. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, but I tell you what I must do. Yeah, that's much better. And that is how to do a Kurotto puzzle. Really hope you enjoyed it. Amazing puzzle from two absolutely brilliant puzzle setters. And yeah, do let me know in the comments whether you'd like to see more of these in due course. A lot of the sort of variation puzzles that we've done have been very popular on the channel. So yeah, I hope this one proves to be popular too. Thanks for watching. Back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.